Evaṃ me sutaṃ ekaṃ samayaṃ bhagavā Savantiyaṃ viharati jetavane anāthapindikaṃ ārāme Atako aññatarā devatā abhiṅkantāya rantiyā abhiṅkantavannā Kevalakampaṃ jetavanaṃ obāsenvā yena bhagavate nupasaṅkamī Upasaṅkaminvā bhagavantaṃ abhivādenvā ekamantaṃ antāsī Ekamantaṃ titākosā devatā bhagavantaṃ gātāya anjabāsī Bahudevā manunsāca mangalāni acintayuṃ Akankamānā sontānaṃ brohi mangalamuntamaṃ Asevanāca bālānaṃ panditānaṃ ca sevanā Puja ca pujanīyānaṃ etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Patirūpadesavāso ca pumbē ca kata puññatā Anta sammā panidhi ca etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Bahu sancaṃ ca simpan ca vinayo ca susiṅkito Subhāsitā ca yāvācā etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Mātā pitu upanthānaṃ puntadāraṃ sasaṅgaho Anakulā ca kammantā etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Dānaṃ ca dhammachariyā ca ñātakānaṃ ca saṅgaho Anavanjāni kammāni etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Ārati virati pāpā manjapānā ca saññamo Appamādo ca dhammesu etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Gāravo ca nivāto ca santunti ca kataṃ yutā Hālena dhamma savanaṃ etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Khanti ca sovacansatā samanānaṃ ca dansanaṃ Hālena dhamma sākañcā etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Tapoca brahmacariyaṃ ca ariya sañcāna dansanaṃ Nibbāna sañcikiriyā ca etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ Puntaṃ saloka dhammi cintaṃ yansana kampati Asokaṃ virajaṃ kemaṃ etaṃ mangalamuntamaṃ ඒතාදිසානි කන්වාන සම්බන්තමපරාජිතා සම්බන්ත සොන්තිං ගච්ඡන්තිතං තේසං මංගල මුන්තමන්ති ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං කරණීයමන්ත කුසලේන යන්තං සන්තං පදං අபிසමින්ච සක්කෝජුච සුජුච සුවචෝචං සමුදු අනතිමානි සන්තුන්සකෝච සුභරෝච අම්පකින්චෝච සල්ලහුකවුන්ති සන්තින්ද්‍රියෝච නිපකෝච අම්පගම්බෝකුලේසු අනුනුගින්දෝ නචකුන්දං සමාචරේකින්චි යේන විඤ්ඤූ පරේ උපවදෙයුම් සුඛිනෝ වාකේමිනෝ හන්තු සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා ඒකේචිපාන භූතන්ති තසවාතාවරාවා අනවසේසා දීඝාවායේ මහන්තාවා මංජිමාරංසකානුකතුලා දිත්ථාවායේව අන්දින්තා යේච දුරේ වසන්ති අවිදුරේ භූතාවා සම්භවේසීවා සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා නපරෝ පරං නිකුම්බේත ඥාති මඤ්ඤේත කන්තචිනං කංචි ව්‍යාරෝසනා පටික සංඥා ඥාඤ්ඤමඤ්ඤංස දුක්ඛමිච්ඡේය මාතා යතානියං පුන්තං ආයුසා ඒක පුන්ත මනුරංකේ ඒවම්පි සම්බභූතේසු මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණ මෙත්තංච සම්බලෝකස්මින් මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණ උන්දං අදෝච තිරියංච අසංභාදං අවේරං අසපන්තං තින්ඨං චරං නිසින්නෝවා සයානෝවායාවතන්ස විගතමින්දෝ ඊතං සතින් අදින්ඨේය බ්‍රහ්මමේතං විහාරං ඉදමාහෝ දින්ඨින්ච අනුපගම්ම සීලවා දන්සනේන සම්පන්නෝ කාමේසු විනය්‍යගේදං නහි ජාතු ගම්බසේයං පුනරේති. එවං මේ සුතං ඒකං සමයං භගවා සාවන්තියං විහෙරති 제තවනේ අනාථ පින්ඩිකංස ආරාමේ අතකෝ අඤ්ඤතරා දේවතා අබින්කන්තාය රන්තියා අබින්කන්තවන්නා කේවල කම්පං 제තවනං ඕවාසෙන්වා යේන භගවාතේනුපසංකමී උපසංකමින්වා භගවන්තං අභිවාදෙන්වා ඒකමන්තං අන්තාසී ඒකමන්තං පිතාකෝසා දේවතා භගවන්තං ගාතාය අංජබාසී බහුදේවා මනුන්සාච මංගලානි අචින්තයොං ආකංකමානා සොන්තානං බ්‍රෝහි මංගලමුන්තමං අසේවනාච බාලානං පණ්ඩිතානංච සේවනා පූජාච පූජනීයානං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං.
Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. A very good morning to all of you who have logged in very early. I know today after the rain, it's a cool morning to sleep late. But choosing to wake up and to be on time with us, say congratulations to yourself, sadhu. Hello to everybody. To have Dhamma friends who have joined us from the South, Klang, Penang, and all over the country. Welcome, specifically people, Dhamma friends from Metta Lodge, Johor Bahru, and Klang and Coast Association, and And to the rest of the other societies, sadhu for spending the Sunday morning for the Buddha Puja service and listening to the Dhamma talk later on with your families and friends. You may prepare a candle or oil lamp and other offerings to offer at the altar. To those who have just joined us, welcome to the Subang Jaya Buddhist Association. Today is the 81st online Sunday Buddha Puja service. We have been organizing it so that all will continue to practice our Buddhist faith and the opportunity to listen to the Dhamma with your family. Let us prepare ourselves by sitting comfortably, relax our bodies, and compose our mind. Let go of thinking about the past and the future. Be at the present moment. We shall now hand over to our Puja leader, Sister Anne. Over to you, Sister Anne.
Thank you, Brother Chuan. Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Namo Buddhaya. Let us begin with our Sunday Buddha Puja service. With respect, may we invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to make the offerings to the Buddha. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Good morning, Bante. Namo Buddhaya. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, you may also light your candles or oil lamps and make your offerings. For the other devotees, let us place our palms together in Anjali position and contemplate mindfully. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us pay homage to the Tripajan. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, together let us invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to administer to us the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. Ahang bante sangsara vata dukkhato mochanataya tisaranena saha pancha silang dhammang yacchami anukkahang katva silang deta me bante. Dutiyampi ahang bante sangsara vata dukkhato mochanataya tisaranena saha pancha silang dhammang yacchami anukkahang katva silang deta me bante. Tatiyampi ahang bante sangsara vata dukkhato mochanataya tisaranena saha pancha silang dhammang yacchami anukkahang katva silang deta me bante.
Namaskara, salutation to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Tisarana Buddhang saranang gacchami
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Panchasila Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kamesu Miccācara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Kamesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Surameraya Majapamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Surameraya Majapamadatana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami
Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani sammadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani sammadhiyami.
Appamadena sampadeta.
Amabante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Buddhanusati, recollection of the Buddha. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manosanang buddho bhagavati. Dhammanusati, recollection of the Dhamma. Suakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanayiko pachatang veditabo vinyohiti. Sanghanusati, recollection of the Sangha. Supatipano bhagavato savaka sangho Ujjapatipano bhagavato savaka sangho Nyayapatipano bhagavato savaka sangho Samicipatipano bhagavato savaka sangho Yadidang chattari purisa yogani atta purisa pogala Esa bhagavato savaka sangho Ahoneyo Pahoneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anuttara Punyaketang Lokasati. Chetya Vandana, salutation to the holy shrine. Vandami chetiyang sabbang sabbata nisupatitidang sari rikadatu mahabodhi buddharo pang sakalang sada. Bodhi Vandana, salutation to the Bodhi tree. Yasamole nisenova sabari vijayang akan pato sabbanyutang satang vandetang bodhipadapang Ime ete mahabodhi lokanat tena pujita aham pite namasami bodhiraja namatute. Padipa Puja, offering of light. Ganasarappadetena Dipena Tamadansina Tilokadi Pangsambudang Pujayami Tamonodang Dhupa Puja, offering of incense. Ganda sambarayatena dupenahang sugandinam pujaye pujaneyandang puja bhajanamutamang. Pupa Puja, offering of flowers. Vanaganda gunopetang etang kusuma santati pujayami munindasa sripada saroruhe pujami buddhang kusumena nena Pengena metena cehotu mokang Popang melayati yata idang me Kayo tatayati vina sebavang. Paniya Puja, offering of water. Adhivase no bante paniyang parikapitang anugampang upadaya patigan hatumutamang. Asking for forgiveness. Kayena vacha cetena pamadena maya katang acayang kamame bante buripanya tatagata. Kayena vacha cetena pamadena maya katang acayang kamame bante Dhamma sandetika akalika. Kayena vacha cetena pamadena maya katang acayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo Buddhaya and good morning, Bante, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. This morning we are very pleased to welcome Venerable Dr. Dhammapala once again to be with us in our Sunday Buddha Puja. We shall be inviting Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to give us a Dhamma talk in both English and Mandarin. And if you have any questions pertaining to this talk, you may type your questions in the comment section. We shall then invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to reply your questions after the talk. However, due to time constraints, we might not be able to answer all questions, in which case we ask for your understanding and forgiveness. And for the information of those who may be new with Venerable Dr. Dhammapala, let me introduce the Venerable. Venerable Dr. Dhammapala was born in Kuching in 1970. He was ordained as a Upasampada Bhikkhu in Wat Chong, Kedah in 1994 under the most respected Chaukun, Praraj Dhammatara, who was the chief Siamese Sangha in Malaysia. Subsequently, he sought spiritual dependence under the guidance of Bande Dhammasakaro Mahathero. He spent 15 years studying Buddhist philosophy, Pali, and Sanskrit literatures in Sri Lanka and Hong Kong. In 2009, Venerable Dr. Dhammapala obtained his doctorate of philosophy in Buddhist studies under the supervision of Professor Venerable K.L. Dhamajoti in the University of Hong Kong. After his graduation, he was appointed as chief editor and spiritual director for the Buddhist Door website, one of the oldest and largest Buddhist websites in the world. In 2010 and 2013, he was the visiting assistant professor at the Center of Buddhist Studies, the University of Hong Kong. He traveled frequently, conducting meditation retreats, Dhamma talks, and teachings in Malaysia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China. Venerable Dr. Dhammapala is now the abbot of Brahma Vihara Monastery and Retreat Center, Malacca, and is also a monastic advisor of the Theravada Buddhist Council of Malaysia. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, with deep respect, we invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to begin the Dhamma talk with the title, Association with Spiritual Friends is the whole of spiritual life. 各位佛友们，我们尊敬的邀请法护比丘为我们佛法开示，题目是与善知识相处是成就梵行的全部。半杯。
So thank you very much. So thank you, Brother Chim. Good morning. Namo Buddhaya. So this morning, I would like to share with you all the topic today, that is the association with spiritual friend is the whole of spiritual life. 所以呢，今天跟大家分享的是以善知识相处呢，是成就梵行事的全部。Okay, so Mangala Sutta talks about 38 blessings. And the first two blessings are Asevana cha balanang, Panditanang cha sevana. That is to say, not to associate with fool, but to associate with the wise. So when Devas asked the Buddhas immediately reply, the Devas said the highest blessing comes from avoiding the fool and associating with wise. This shows the good friendship is very important in the starting journey in the path of spiritual realization. So association, with the wise means staying away from the fool, because the foolish one, is incapable of differentiating what is beneficial from what is harmful. So the fool will give us a wrong view and distorted perception that affecting our mind. 佛陀呢，在吉祥经里面就有提到38种的吉祥。那有一次呢，天神在夜晚就是来到佛陀的住所呢，就请示了佛陀，那就问什么是吉祥。那当然佛陀就回应这位天神，他一开始呢就便说 Asevana cha balanang panditanang cha sevana， 意思就是说我们要远离愚痴人，亲近智慧者。所以呢，学佛的人呢，首先要明白一个道理，就是呢，近朱者赤，近墨者黑，就是远离愚痴人呢，就是避免自己呢堕入在这个苦海里面。那远离这个愚痴呢，能避免就是制造恶业不受这个灾害灾殃。所以呢，佛陀才会说 这才是入吉祥门就是修行重要的开始了所以呢，佛陀很明确的讲到说，在修学佛法上呢，首要的这个条件呢，就是要止恶行善就是要远离愚痴人亲近呢智慧者呢因为这个是修行非常重要的功课。So this is the contrast, right, between the companionship of bad friend versus companionship of good person. And this sutta is found in the Majjhima Nikaya, right, called Chulapunnama Sutta. And in these suttas, it says, when we raise the questions how to recognize the good companion, right, how to distinguish good companion from the bad companion, the Buddha offers us this advice. Right? So in these suttas, the Buddha says the difference between the companionship of the bad person and companionship of the good person is thus. The bad person, right, chooses as friend and companions those who are without faith, right, whose conduct is marked by the absence of shame and moral dread, who have no knowledge of spiritual teaching, who are lazy and unmindful, and who are devoid of wisdom. So as a consequence of choosing such a bad friend as his companion, right, the bad person plan and act for his own harm, for the harm of others as well, and for the harms of both, then he meets with sorrow and destiny. 所以呢，在这个中部经里面有谈到那么有2种的这个陪伴就是一个呢就是愚痴者的陪伴，另外一个呢是以这个善知识的陪伴。那么他们之间的对比是什么呢？就比如当我们谈到如何辨别善知识的时候呢，和这个愚痴者的时候呢，佛陀给了这样的一个建议就是佛陀的分别是这样的，他说那些非善人是那些没有信仰的行为没有羞耻的没有道德没有恐惧的就不听闻佛法的人，那么在他们的行为上呢是非常的懈怠呢堕落的，那恋以忘事的就是不专心所以呢佛陀说以没有智慧的这些沙门婆罗门做朋友呢那么也因为呢选择了这些朋友作为他的伴侣呢，那愚痴人就会想办法策划或者是伤害他们自己本身，那也为自己他人造成伤害所以呢会陷入这种的悲伤和痛苦当中。 Okay? Then in contrast, the Buddha continue, the good person, right, chooses his friends and companions, those who have faith, right, first, and who exhibit a sense of shame and moral dread, and who are learned in the Dhamma. And they are very energetic in the cultivation of mind, mindful, and possessed of wisdom. Right? So to resorting to such good friend, looking to them as mentors and guides, then the good person pursue this same quality as his own ideals and absorb them into his character. So while drawing near closer to deliverant mind, right, himself, so he becomes in turn a beacon-like for others. Okay, so such a one is able to offer those who still wander in the dark an inspiring model to emulate. So, and the wise friends to turn for guidance and advice. 那佛陀呢也继续说他说，这些善人呢会选择那些有信仰的人就是有羞耻心的人，还有这个道德恐惧的人来学习佛法。那么精进的修行有正念有智慧的人作为朋友和同伴。那么求助于这些善知识的话呢他将视他们为导师将这些善良的品质呢吸收在他们的性格里面那么在自己修得很好的时候呢，自己又可以呢成为他人的这个灯塔那这样的人呢 能够为那些仍然在黑暗中徘徊的人，给他们鼓励。So, for example, Devadatta, I think you all know who is Devadatta, right? Devadatta was regarded in the Buddhist suttas as what they call a bad friend, okay, and a bad companion. And we know Devadatta instigated Prince Ajatasattu, and who is the son of the king Bimbisara. Then Prince Ajatasattu, he was an educated prince, right? But because the prince associated with Devadattas, right, under his instigation, Prince Ajatasattu killed his own father, Bimbisara, for his kingship. The reason why King Ajatasattu was continuously ill-advised by among Devadatta, that is because King Bimbisara was converted to a follower of Buddhism, right? And the growing influence of Gautama Buddhas make Devadattas very jealous. Then as a result, Devadattas instigated Prince Ajatasattu to seize the throne, right? So Prince Ajatasattu was instigated by all this, and soon he executed his own father, King Bimbisara. He imprisoned him, right, in the jail. As you can see in the archaeological remains, right, in the pictures, right, this place is known as the Bimbisara jail. So where Bimbisara was imprisoned by his son Ajatasattu during his last days of life. So it is said that his wife, right, smeared honey on her body every day and sneaked into the prison to feed her husband. So his condition in his later years is indeed very pitiful. And Drugdakuta hill, right, as you can see far away from the Bimbisara jail, he could see the Buddha's ascent and descent, the Drugdakuta hill, from his prison. Then another legend says that the King Bimbisara took his own life after he was being imprisoned. Then whatever the case, right, Prince Ajatasattu, he was responsible for his father's death. Of course, that gave him a chance to ascend to the throne of Magadha. And because Prince Ajatasattu, right, associated with bad friend, right, Devadatta, they could not carry out any good, for the good of the people. Then as a result, after his death, he suffered continuously in the hell. And this story tells us that the evil consequences because of associating with bad friends. 那么，当我们谈到以这些愚蠢的朋友呢做朋友的时候呢，这里有一个很好的这个故事这个就是提婆达多那么我们都知道提婆达多的故事，对吧？那他煽动呢这个毗婆沙罗王的儿子，就是阿阇世王的王，这个太子。那阿阇世王呢是受过很高深的这个教育的这个王子。那由于是这个提婆达多呢是他的老师，那所以呢他就为了这个王位他自己呢杀害了自己的父王就是这个毗婆沙罗王 OK。 那么当然我们也看到的就是他为了这个王位呢杀死了自己的父亲，所以呢那是因为呢这个太子阿阇世王呢他受到了这个提婆达多的不断的煽动那是因为呢这个他也知道就是这个毗婆沙罗王他皈依了这个佛教就皈依了这个佛陀，那么后来呢佛陀的这个影响力也越来越大，所以呢也让这个提婆达多呢非常的这个妒忌那结果呢这个提婆达多呢就不断的唆使 阿指世王这个王子呢去夺取这个王位。那当然阿指世王子呢就被这一切所唆使了，不久呢他就处决了他自己的父亲，就是频婆沙罗王，那将他囚禁在这个就是我们看到图中的这个监狱里面。那当然这个监狱里面呢叫做这个毗婆沙罗王监狱那当然毗婆沙罗王呢在他最后的这个几天里，就是被他的儿子阿指世王监狱。那据说这里面的故事讲到，就是他太太呢每天都将就是以泪洗面就是每天呢将这个蜜糖涂在他的身上，然后呢偷偷的潜入在这个监狱里面那让他年迈就是体弱多病的这个丈夫可以得到禁食。所以我们可以看得到国王毗婆沙罗王呢在他晚年呢也是非常非常的凄凉的。那么我们看到后面的一座山呢，就是这个我们叫做灵鹫山灵鹫山。那么从这个毗婆沙罗王监狱外呢，可以看到这个灵鹫山那当然另外一个传说呢，就是说这个毗婆沙罗王呢在入监狱后不久呢便自杀了。但不管如何阿指世王呢要为他父亲的死亡负责任因为呢他杀死了自己的父亲，让他有机会呢登上这个摩羯陀的王位。那因为呢这个阿指世王子呢与这个提婆达多交往，那结果呢就在他死之后呢，他投身在这个地狱里面不断的受苦。所以呢这个故事里面就表达了，就是以这些不好的朋友，就是以这些坏的朋友做这个同伴呢，交往呢会带来这些恶果。Then what is the characteristics of bad friends? So in the Sigalovada Suttas, right? 4 characteristics of bad friends, right, are mentioned. And it says that the first character is a person who only takes from others and does not give in return, right? It means he wants much in return for just giving only a little, right? He only give a service when he get into trouble, okay? Then he attend on someone only for his own advantage. So this is the first character. And the second character or bad friend is a person who only render lip service by making empty promise. So that is to say, he tried to please someone with empty promises, and when occasion arises needed his assistance, he just say, he is not able to do. So, and the third character is a person who flatters. That is to say, he praise him in his presence, and he speak ill of him in his absence. Okay. So, and the fourth character or bad friend is a person associating in activities, right, that leads to loss of wealth. That is to say, he associate with someone who indulge, right, in intoxicants, right? He associate with someone who sauntering in strict at unseemly hours, or he associate with someone who frequenting entertainment, and he associate with someone who indulging in gambling. 那么在这个《善生经》里面有谈到这个愚痴者的这个特点，那里面有谈到这4种的特征。那么第一个特征呢，就是只有取而不给予回报的人意思他想了很多他想要很多但是呢他只是付出一点点而已那他只有当自己遇上麻烦的时候呢才提供服务或者是呢他只是为了自己的利益而关注别人所以这是第一类。 那么第二类呢，就是就是做空头承诺的人啊。那么意思就是说他试图以空头的承诺呢来取悦他人。当他真的有机会提供他的协助的时候呢，他表示自己呢没有办法，就是无能为力就是开一个空头支票罢了那坏朋友的这个第三个特征呢，就是奉承什么是奉承呢？就是当着他的这个面前赞美他但是呢，在他不在的时候呢，就不断说他的坏话那么第四种朋友呢，就是导致这个财富损失，意思就是他跟那些经常呢在酒吧那些喝酒的人在一起了或者是经常有应酬的人或者是沉迷于赌博的人，那这样的话呢，会导致他大量的财富呢损失。So then the second blessing, right, is to associate with the wise, having a good friendship and companions. Right, the Buddhas taught us, to stop evil, right, and to do good. Right? Sabba papasa akaranang kusalasa upasambhada. Right? That is to, to stop doing bad, right, to do good. Right? Therefore, on the part of Buddhist practice, we stay away, from the foolish ones and associate with the wise. And this is a very important practice in our spiritual journey, without which the spiritual journey is impossible. And this suttas, right, from Sartha Nikaya, emphasizes the importance of spiritual friendship, right, for life here and hereafter. So there is conversation between the Buddha and his disciple Ananda, right, in which Ananda said, "O Blessed One, right, this is half of this holy life. Right? What is this? That is good friendship, good companionship, and good comradeship, right?" Then the Buddha immediately replied, said, "Not so, Ananda. Don't say that. Not so, Ananda. That is not true. Instead, that is the entire spiritual life, Ananda. The entire spiritual life is good friendship, good companionship." Okay? 那第二个这个吉祥呢，就是以智慧的人交往。那佛陀呢，经常都告诫我们，就是我们要止恶行善。因为呢，在佛法修行的道路上呢，远离愚痴者，亲近智慧的人呢，是我们修行中非常重要的开始。就是没有他呢，那修行其实很难有进展。那么在这个相应部里面也强调了，就是善知识对今生和来世生活的重要。那有一次呢，这个阿难尊者就前往世尊那里，然后就对世尊说，他说善知识、善同伴然后呢善密友呢是成就梵行的另一半。那佛陀呢即刻就回道说，他说阿难不要这么说不要这么说，阿难，跟善知识呢、善同伴呢，跟这个善密友呢为伴呢，是成就梵行的全部。So this life journey, right, it's not an easy life. It's not an easy journey. Like what Chinese say, right? Life is comparable to a bumpy road, and there are many up and down in life. Therefore, the key to a person's success or failure is often influenced by the nature, by the types and nature of people whom you associate with, right? If you associate with wise people, then they will sure give you support and encouragement wherever you are, right? Whether you are miserable or disappointed, they will sure help you and showing you the right way. They will accompany you and sharing the happiness with you. So on the path of spiritual journey, and we need Dhamma companions, right? we need a good teacher. We need a good Kalyanamitas, right, to support and to encourage each other. Therefore, Brahma Vihara Monastery, the place where I'm staying now, we introduce the monastery stay, right, accept retreat courses for those, right, who wish to stay in the temple either for short periods or for a longer time, right, and associate, with the spirits of the Kalyanamitta, right, to associate with the good companions, we associate with teachers, to support each other in our spiritual life, right, in our spiritual path. And this shows that the importance of good friendship to practitioner. So the good companionship is the whole of spiritual life. Just like, the teachers, school days, they carefully and diligently, protect and teach students while they are properly trained, until, they are properly trained, yeah. Then, OK 那么在谈到我们这个路途，就是我们人生路途上可以看，就是大家都走过来那么也看到了，就是的确呢，在我们的人生这个路途上呢的确是不容易这条路呢，就是很多我们讲什么坎坷不平的道路所以呢，在我们的生活上呢，有很多不如意的、如意的事情发生。好，那么这里面也谈到的就是说，一个人的成败这关键呢，往往也是受到他身边的这个朋友影响。那么假如是你在生活上呢，你结交了很多的朋友呢，而这些朋友呢是一些贤惠的人呢，那当然在我们的生活上，当我们遇到挫折的时候呢，他们也会给我们这个扶持给我们支持资源所以呢，不管在我们的生活上呢得意或者是失意的时候呢，他也会给我们指示这一条正路，就是陪伴这我们与我们一起共度这个人生。所以呢，在我们的修行上也是如此我们也需要很多的法师，我们需要很多的老师，我们需要很多的善知识呢，给予支持，给予鼓励。所以呢，最近这个疫情期间呢，我们发现到其实很多人都很困扰也很苦恼。所以呢，梵行寺呢最近也推出了这个寺院的体验营这个是有点类似像这个个别就是禅修有这样的一个课程，可以是短期或者是长期的课程。那么呢也方便那些住在寺院里面可以跟法师们或者是跟善知识，就是可以大家一起学习那么这样的话呢，在我们修行道路上，不管遇上什么挫折，也可以呢大家互相的这个支持。所以呢，这部经呢显示就是修行者呢在修行上呢要有良好的这个善知识的陪伴所以呢佛陀才会说，善知识呢才是我们精神生活的全部Then when the Buddha was alive, he often encouraged his new monks, right, to learn from the great disciples like Sariputtas, Mahakashapa, Moggallana, and to learn Dhamma from them. Right, the Buddha himself also said that without the guidance of the past Kalyanamitas and the prophecy of the Buddha Dipankara, right, it is impossible for him to cultivate 10 perfection, 10 parameters in his spiritual journey of Bodhisattva's path. And it is also impossible for Bodhisattvas to attain the Buddhahood. Right? Therefore, there's a Chinese proverb saying, one day a teacher, a lifetime a father. 就是一日为师终生为父If we were to cultivate the spiritual life, we should associate with spiritual friends, Kalyanamitas, and with their support and guidance, which is the entire spiritual life, then only we are able to walk the right path. So we must be very grateful to our teachers, who is also our Kalyanamitas. So there is a very good examples in the Mahayana suttas, right? His name is called Sudhana Kumara, right? 善财童子, who is a very important figure, right? In Chinese Mahayana text called Avatangsaka Suttas, right? And Sudhana, 善财童子, was a young man who was seeking enlightenment, eagerly seeking for enlightenment. So he went round and round, to look for teachers, and he was able to, learn from these 53 good friends, right? And these 53 good Kalyanamitas, good friends, directed him, towards the way to enlightenment. And this shows that the Kalyanamitas is very important, in our spiritual path. 所以呢，佛陀呢在世的时候呢，也经常鼓励就是新学的比丘就是向一些大长老比丘，比如说舍利弗目犍连摩诃迦叶这些弟子们学习，那也向他们学习佛法。那佛陀自己也说过嘛，就是如果呢在过去没有这些善知识的教导，而这个燃灯佛的这个预言呢，他不可能在这个菩萨道的修行中呢，修习圆满这10波罗蜜那当然菩萨呢也不可能成佛的。所以呢，在我们中国有句谚语就是说一日为师终身为父就是如果呢我们修行上呢我们没有结交这个善知识的话呢，那这是不可能完成我们的这个精神的生活。所以呢，佛陀特别的强调就是在我们的修行，我们要广结善缘就是广结一些好的朋友那么当然我们也要很感谢就是佛陀还有一些大善知识，就是我们的老师呢，他们也是我们的善知识，对不对？所以呢，在我们的学活上呢，我们需要跟他们学习。那么在这个有一部经典就是《法华经》Avatangsaka Suttas 里面有谈到就是有一位这个善财童子的故事。那么这位善财童子呢，他是一位求道的一个年轻人，所以呢，在他一路的这个求道的这个生涯里面呢，他遇见了53位的善知识，那么也在这53位的善知识的座下学习那么这些善知识呢，也引导他就是走向这个解脱之道So why it is important to be associated with good friends, right? Kalyanamitas. Then the Buddha continues said, right? When a monk has a good friend, a good companions, then he will develop and cultivate the noble eightfold path. And the noble eightfold path is a supramundane path, right? Which lead to Nibbana. And we all know the Noble Eightfold Path is a middle path, like discovered by the Buddha himself at the time of his enlightenment. And this path is guided by sila, morality, samadhi, concentration, and panya, insight, wisdom. That's why the Buddha says, good companionship, right? Good companion, good kalyanamitas is the entire spiritual life. Right? When a monk has a good friend, a good companion, then he will develop and cultivate the noble eightfold path. 所以呢，以一位善知识学习呢，为什么会是成就梵行的全部那是因为呢，这个善知识呢，他将带领学佛的人群修这个八正道处理这个世间所以我们都知道这个八正道呢，是我们佛教的中道修行它不落两边那么以这个戒定慧为引导去向这个解脱。所以呢，佛陀才会说，以善知识呢为伴呢，是成就梵行的全部Then in another suttas, right, in Anguttara Nikaya, the suttas called Sambodhi Suttas, right, mention also the Kalyanamitas is a prerequisite for awakening. So the Buddha says, right, if wanderers who are members of other religion, should ask you, okay, what are the prerequisites for the development of the awakening factors? Then the Buddha advised his disciple, you should answer this. There is a case when a monk has admirable people as friends, companions, and colleagues. Right? This is the first prerequisite for the development of the awakening factors. Okay, so Buddha stresses the importance of Kalyana Mittas as very important prerequisites for the awakening factors. So Buddhism differs from many other religions. That is the institution of Sangha communities, where the monastic, members, the Sangha living together, learn together, practice together, right, for the common goal, for the realization of Nibbana. So we find in Buddhism, right, the community of Sangha, okay, Sangha community, the Savaka Sangha, is the oldest institution in the history of mankind. And of course, this institution, right, will continue for a long time. That is because the Sangha members, as Kalyana Mittas, are living and supporting each other, overcoming conflicts and difficulties, and solving the problems for the welfare and happiness of mankind. 那么在这部经里面就是在这个真知部里面就是Sambodhi Sutta， 就是正觉经那么佛陀有提到这个善知识呢是觉悟的宣觉条件。那么佛在经典里面有提到，就是如果有其他宗派的这些外道修行者呢问你就是什么是正觉分法修习的精英呢那么你要应该这样子回答他们，他说善友、善伴侣善同志善知识、善朋友等等这个呢是去向这个正觉分法修习的这个宣觉条件。所以呢佛教的佛教呢有别于其他宗教，就是在我们佛教呢有一个良好的这个僧伽团体的这个制度。这个制度是什么呢？就是僧伽共同的生活共同的修习，共同的修行那么共同来解决问题共同为这个目标涅槃迈进。所以我们可以看得到在僧团里面这个是在我们人类史上就可以说是一个最古老的一个组织来的宗教组织，就是因为它有这个善知识这个理念所以呢僧团才能够持续到了现在，而这样子的一个僧团制度呢也会在持续所以Okay, so in a monastery, right, when you come to the monastery, when you associate with a monk, right, of course, he is a good mentor, right, and a good friend. Why? Because he is wishing for your welfare and concern with your spiritual progress. We say monk is your Kalyana Mittas. So in the Sigalovada Suttas, the Buddha says very clearly, there are certain sets of duties, certain duties of monk, right, to a disciple. He says the monk encourages disciples to do good, right, to refrain from doing bad. And of course, monk has to show compassionate to them, to teach them, right, teachings that they have not been heard of before, and of course, to show them the path to heaven. Okay. Then, of course, in return, right, the laity should be kind in body, should be kind in speech, and should be kind in the mind, to the monks. So not showing any harsh or ill will to the monks, right? Showing compassion and kindness to the monk. And of course, don't reject the monk, when they come to your house, and to provide them with material support, such as, for requisites, right? So, 那么我们来看一下就是在寺庙里呢，当 你来到这个寺庙的时候呢，那么你可以呢以这个出家人交往那么出家人呢就是你们的老师就是你们的导师，是你们的善知识，也是你们的好朋友为什么这么说呢？因为他关心你们的福祉还有你们修行的这个进展所以呢我们才说这个僧侣呢是善知识。那么在这个上圣经里面有谈到的就是比丘跟以弟子们之间的这个关系，就是要怎么样去履行他们各自的任务呢？那比丘提到的，在经典提到的就是比丘会鼓励弟子们呢做善事，就是禁止他们做坏事就是会阻止他们作恶鼓励他们行善那么当然也对他们表现出这个慈悲心教导他们以前没有听过的这个教法，然后呢更重要的就是指示他们一条升天的道路。那当然弟子们作为回报那也要以这个身口意这个善待这些比丘。那当然也不要对这些比丘表现非常的粗暴或者是恶意那么要对比丘呢这个表现善意。所以当出家人到你们的家的时候呢，你们也不要拒绝他们所以邀请他们进你们的家提供所有物资的这个支持当然包括这个四支具必需品的供养OK 所以呢这里面有谈到这4种OK So now when we talk about a good society, right? Good society cannot be constructed without good friend. Okay, without kalyana mittas, right? So in the same suttas, Sigalovada Sutta, the Buddha said, everybody ought to fulfill his own duties in relation to others in the society. And good friend is not only, between, the same age or generation, but also between, parents and children, between teachers and students, between monks and devotees, etc. Right? So now I will take a few, to discuss. For example, between parents and children, right? We all know learning start from home. When we are in our childhood, and it says that the parents are the first teachers at home. That is because the parents, teach them moral, right, and spiritual value needed, for their life. So in such cases of good living and good instruction and good environment, right, so the parent roles is very important and should be respected by the children. And the parents should be regarded as good friends for their children. And children should also respect and honor to the parents and take care of them when they grow old. That is why parents and children are mutually good friends. 那这里提到的就是在三圣经里面有提到就是假如没有好朋友就没有善知识呢我们这个社会呢美好的社会呢就不能够建设起来。那么在这个三圣经里面佛陀说每一个人都应该对社会的不同人不同角色就是履行自己的这个职责。那么好朋友呢不仅是我们指这个同龄或者是同辈之间，那也包括就是父母和孩子之间老师和学生之间出家人和信徒之间等等所以呢我们这里我们拿几个来讨论一两个来讨论就是父母跟孩子之间我们都知道学习从我们童年开始，所以我们说老师我们的父母呢是我们的第一位老师。那是因为呢我们的父母呢给予我们生活所需要的一些什么道德还有这些精神的价值观那么在这样的一个好的家庭好的生活好的教育 也包括好的这个环境之下呢，可以看得出来父母的这个责任就显得非常重要了，对不对？那么当然孩子要尊重父母，对不对？那么父母呢也要视自己的孩子为好朋友那么孩子们也要尊重自己的父母也当然在他们年老的时候呢给予他们照顾。所以呢我们说父母跟孩子呢都是好朋友。Then come to the second one. That is a husband and wife, right? And husband and wife also mutually need to be good friends to each other too. And here there's a story. It's the story of Mahamoggallana in one of his past life, right? It says that in one of his past life, he has done a great evil deeds to his own blind parents, right? In one of his past existence. And of course, it says that at the very beginning, Mahamoggallana, he was a very dutiful son, right? Very good son. But after marriage, right? Then I think it's because of the instigation of his wife, right? And, he becomes to, get rid of his own parents. And of course, he told lies to his parents that their relative in other region wished to see him. Then he put his parents onto a carriage and driving, to the forest. So while in the depth in the forest, he dismounts and walked along the carriage, telling his parents that he has to watch out for robbers. Then he imitated the sounds of thieves, pretending to attack to the carriage. Then his parents, plead to the thief not to hurt their son. So while they are crying out, their parents crying out, the man, who is their own son in disguise, beats and subsequently kills his parents and throw their bodies into the forest. And because of Mahamoggallana has done such an evil karma in his previous life. You see, that is to say, killing of his own parent, right? According to Buddhism, is true of the five and the gravest sin. Then he suffer in hell for a long time, right? And why Mahamoggallana has done such a great evil, right? That is because he associated with bad wife. It means that he doesn't have good wife who can be regarded as his true friends. 那么我们来谈一下这个夫妻之间也需要就是互相成为这个好伴侣那这里呢我们来谈一下就是在这个故事，就是目犍连尊者的在他过去世的一个故事那么就在他过去世的时候呢，他的父母呢是一个盲人的父母就是在他过去世的时候，他对他自己的父母呢做了一件这个滔天大罪那当然在开始的时候他呢是一个非常孝顺的儿子。那后来呢，因为他结婚后他的太太呢就开始闹事就要求她的丈夫就是远离她的父母所以呢故事是这样的，就是呢自从她的这个太太呢在那里挑衅离间那么呢她的先生就是这个 Mahamoggallana 呢就对父母撒谎就是说他们在外呢有亲戚要见他们，所以呢他就把他们的父母呢放在这个马车上，那么就开着这个马车上呢穿越这个森林，那么在这个森林的深处那么他就告诉他的父母，就是说这里附近呢可能有一些强盗那么呢他这个儿子Mahamoggallana 就模仿这个小偷的声音呢，就假扮就是这些小偷就是攻击这些马车。那当然他的母亲知道之后呢，就在那里苦苦的哀求这些小偷呢不要去伤害他们的儿子所以在他父母恳求的时候呢，那么他这个儿子呢就伪装成这个强盗 那么并殴打他的这个自己的父母于是呢就杀死他们，然后就把他们的尸体呢就丢入了这个森林里面，然后呢就返回家了。那也因为穆建连呢在他前世呢曾经做过这样子的恶业，就是杀自己的父母，所以呢他也长期呢在这个地狱里面受苦所以呢穆建连尊者他犯了这个大错，滔天大罪那么呢可以说他因为没有我们讲说是贤妻良母，没有真正的朋友所以才导致呢在他的这个妻子的煽动之下呢，把自己的这个父母呢给杀死了他自己要承受这个极大的痛苦。So during the times of the Buddhas, the Buddha is also a very good friend, right? Or we can call it the Buddha is a good friend par excellence. Right? So many people including like king, ministers, and wealthy people, the poor people, right, or the low caste people, whoever associated with the Buddhas, right, sure have gained liberation from suffering. So if we associate with a virtuous friend, we will be guided by the virtuous friends, and we will be changed even our bad character. So here I'm quoting the suttas of Angulimala, right? We all know Angulimala. He was a very good example of how he was earlier a very brutal man, killing of 999 men. But later, he became a very good person, right? Under the influence of the Buddhists. It says Angulimala has killed 999 people. He cut their finger and made a garland out of those fingers. So many people were scared of him, and he was looking for 1,000 finger. And it was so happens that the Buddha was passing by. So the Angulimala lived on top of the hill. He saw the Buddhas and chasing after him, right? And he could not catch the Buddhas. But the Buddha was standing peacefully in front of him. And the Buddha, radiate loving kindness while looking at the Angulimala. So Angulimala saw at the Buddha, right? His heart was melted, was softened, by the Buddha's compassion. So immediately he fell at the feet of the Buddhas. And later on, he became a Buddha's disciple. So Buddhas taught him Dhammas, and he soon becomes a monk and attained the sainthood. So after meeting the Buddhas, he became such a wonderful person. So this is the result of associating with the good, virtuous friends. Okay? 那么在佛陀时代呢，佛陀呢也被称为就是无上的好朋友。那么当时有很多人不管你是国王、大臣、富人、穷人、高阶级的人，或者是低种的人凡是呢见到佛陀的人与佛陀有缘的人呢，都可以从痛苦中解脱出来。所以呢，如果我们与善人相处的话呢，我们就会受到善人的引导，那么会改变我们这些不好的性格。那么这个 Angulimala 就是子曼杀手呢，就是一个很好的例子。那么在他早期的时候呢，他是一个非常残酷的人，他杀死了999位人那么后来呢，在佛陀的这个影响之下呢，成为一位非常有道德的人。所以呢，我们可以说在那个时候Angulimala 呢他非常的残暴那么他杀死了999个人那为什么呢？因为他切断他们的手指那么呢，将他们的手指呢串成一个花环所以很多人都很怕他。当他在寻找第1000根手指的时候呢，刚好佛陀经过了那么 Angulimala 子曼杀手呢就住在山顶上他看见了佛陀，那边赶上去追啊，他一直都追不到佛陀。那其实呢，佛陀呢已经平静的站在他的面前所以呢，佛陀注视着这个子曼杀手那么并散发他的这个慈悲。那也由于受到这个佛陀慈悲的这感化那子曼杀手的心呢也被软化了。那么随后呢，便扑倒在佛陀的脚下。 那也成为了佛弟子，然后呢，不久他出家了，那么也成正圣人。那么呢，遇见佛陀之后呢，他就变成了一位非常了不起的人啊，所以我们可以说这是结交善知识的这个结果了。So the task of a good friend, whether you are monastic or the ladies, right, is not just only to provide companionship, but more importantly is with understanding, with sympathy of heart and possess of these 5 qualities. Okay, so in the Anguttara Nikaya Udaya Suttas, so the Buddha says, right, to Ananda, it is not easy to teach the Dhammas to others. Right? The Dhamma should be taught to others when 5 qualities are established within the person's teaching. Okay, so it means that there is this requirement for a preacher as well, for a monk, right? So that is to say, we are not just simply accompany a person, but you have to have these qualities. Okay, so what are the qualities? That is Anupubbing Kata. That is, the Dhamma should be taught progressively. And what is this? Step by step, or progressive teaching, right? What are these progressive teaching to the householders? So, of course, a monk has to, talk on dana, generosity, to start with. A monk has to talk on the virtues. A monk has to talk on the heaven, like we have said just now, to guide them the path to heaven, right? And not only that, also, monk has to explain the dangers and defilements in the sensual pleasure, right? And monk also has to explain the blessing of renunciation. Okay, and then when the mind is ready, receptive, free from hindrances, confident, right? Expound to him the teaching of 4 noble truths. Okay, so this is the progressive, teaching to the householders, to the laity. Okay, then of course, beside the first qualities, right? Then monk also to have this quality. The Dhamma should be taught with the thought that I will speak, explaining the sequence of cause and effect. Okay, and then the third one, the Dhamma should be taught with the thought I will speak out of compassion. The fourth, the Dhamma should be taught with the thought I will speak not for the purpose of material reward, right? And the Dhamma should be taught with thought I will speak without disparaging myself or others. So these are the qualities that the Sangha should possess besides being a good friendship. He has to have this quality in order to teach him. Okay? 那么当我们谈到这个好朋友善知识的时候呢不管他是出家人也好还是在家人也好不单只是在陪伴这样的一个性质当然他也要具备这5种的这个品质。那么在这个真知部里面这个五大一经里面有谈到佛陀就对阿难讲他说向别人教导这个佛法呢是不容易的为什么？因为教导他人他本身也要具备这5种法，那才能够教导他人，才能够成为他人的善知识。那第一点呢就是他要有次第的来教导佛法。那这个次第的佛法是什么呢里面有谈到6种次第的这个教法。第一呢就是他要给他们讲这个布施，要给他们讲这个持戒，要给他们讲这个升天之道教导他们上天那么第4呢也要教导他们就是离欲的这个危险和这个烦恼的断除当然另外呢也要教导他们要处理要处理。那另外呢就是当他们的心准备好了接受了那么有充满自信了那么就要给他们讲解这个4圣谛。所以呢这个是有次第的这个教法。那么第2呢这个善知识呢本身也要有这个什么讲理趣，就是说他要有这个思辨的这个能力 来教导啊。第三啊，他也要有这个怜悯之心啊。那第四呢，他不可以为了这个利益财物来说法，就是不是一种交换。好，那最后呢，就是在他讲法的时候呢，不能构成自己和他人的伤害这个是非常不容易的。所以佛陀才会跟阿难尊者说教导他人法是不容易的，因为他本身都要具备这5种的这个法，5种的这个品质。So, okay, being a good friend, right? We have been talking about a good friendship. So being a good friend, right? Other than this, we also have to talk softly, to talk properly. This talking is very important. Sometimes, we can say that a lot of problems, a lot of misunderstanding arises because we don't know how to speak. Okay, we speak wrongly. We speak, not properly. So we have to learn how to speak a pleasant speech, right? Then we will have a lot of good friends. So we have to be aware of our speech. Right? If we don't speak properly, say if we speak very harsh word, a very unpleasant speech, then we tend to create animosities. Then we have no friend, right? Then what you have, you get all the bad friend. 所以呢，当我们在谈到这个良好的善知识的时候呢，其实我们也应该要知道就是有很多很多的问题呢，很多很多的误会都是由于呢我们不会讲话就是我们讲话讲得不恰当我们讲话呢讲到让别人听起来不高兴的话那么往往呢这个会造成很多很多的问题，所以呢我们也要留意我们的这个原型这个语言就是在我们说话的时候呢，我们也尽量呢不要去得罪别人那么呢也不要说粗话或者是一些不愉快的因为这个呢往往会给别人产生这种敌意，是吗？也导致我们也没有朋友或者是我们也因为这样我们也会交到一般猪朋狗友So, there is a types of meditation, right? In Buddhism, that is a metta bhavana, right? Loving kindness meditation. Metta means loving kindness, right? So we have to radiate loving kindness to oneself and to others. So this is very important. So we need to be nourished by loving kindness and compassion. 那么在我们佛教呢，有一种修行的方法呢，就是慈心禅是慈悲禅所以在我们的生活里面呢，我们要给自己多注入一些慈悲的这个元素，让我们的内心可以得到软化So Buddha always advised people, right, to live in harmony, right, without any dispute whatsoever. So the ideal is the Sangha community, like we have said, right? So in the Buddhist community, we are living together, right, mindfully on a friendly term, in a very harmonious way. That's why one who speak well, one who speak on the teaching, one who speak pleasantly, or one who speak truthfully, are very important, to communicate in any society we live in. So this is from the Subhasita Suttas, Sanghata Nikaya. Okay, if we speak like that, you see, pleasant speech, all these things, then our mind will incline towards it. 所以呢，在这部经里面，相应部里面佛陀不断的在告诫我们要和睦相处不要呢凡事呢都引起很多无谓不必要的这个争议所以在社区里面呢，我们要以友好和谐的方式来共同生活所以呢，这也为什么就是我们生活在任何的社会里面呢，我们要善于说话的人那么我们要讲教法的人要说话愉快的人或者是说话诚实的人，因为呢这些呢都是非常重要的这个沟通方式。So true friendship, right? Story of Sariputtras and Moggallana. So this is a very good example of Sariputtras and Moggallana. they were very good friends, from the childhood. And of course, both of them developed an interest in the spiritual life when they were young. So they left the worldly life, right, and started their spiritual journey under one teacher called Sanjaya Velataputta, right? And later on, they left their teacher because their teacher cannot satisfy their spiritual needs. Then later on, Sariputta and Moggallana left his teachers and continued for their own spiritual search. And they split into two directions, right? And they make an agreement. Whoever finds the non-death, the teaching on non-death or the spiritual life, then please tell the others. So one day, the Sariputtas was searching for non-death. Right? He met a monk. His name is called Asaji. Asaji. So Asaji was the one of the 5 disciples of the Buddha. Then he was working to receive the alms mindfully. Then Asaji was very calm, in postures. So while working for alms, this incident already inspired Sariputtas, to approach him and to learn from Asaji. Then Asaji, he was very humble. He said, "I'm still very new. I very new, and I'm newly ordained. I can only teach you a very little." Okay, so what is that little? So this is what I learned, from the Buddha. You see, in these words, he said, "Ye Dhamma hetu pabhava, tesang hetu tatthagato ahang tesam yo nirodho evang vadi maha samano." Okay, so this is the meaning of those phenomena which arise from causes. Those causes have been taught by the Buddha, and their cessation too does proclaim the great ascetic. So this words, right, help Sariputtas to immediately attain the first stage of sainthood. So then after this, Sariputtas, tell Moggallana, his good friend, about his discovery, right? And Moggallana too attained the Sotapanna. So these 2 disciples, right, together with their former teacher's disciple, 500 of them, altogether, went to Buddhas and ordained under the Buddhas. It says that the Sanjaya Velataputta was committed suicide after all his disciples, gone to the Gautama Buddhas. I mean, okay. So 那么我们来看一下，就是舍利佛呢，目犍连呢，就是一个很好的例子了。那么，因为他们从小都是好朋友，所以呢，他们其实年轻的时候呢，对这个精神生活也有很高的这个兴趣，所以呢，他们就找了这个叫Sanjaya Velataputta的老师学习。到后来他们也离开了他们这位老师，为什么？因为他老师呢没办法满足他们，所以呢，他们就分道扬镳那么各自寻找他们的老师学习，所以他们达成一种协议，就是说，无论谁找到这个不实的法门呢，请告诉对方。那么舍利佛呢，有一次就遇见了一位马胜比丘，就是阿萨吉马胜比丘。那马胜比丘呢是5位比丘早期5位比丘之一。那当他正在行脚托钵的时候呢，马胜比丘呢就非常的庄严就是非常的平静举止非常的安详。那这一幕呢，让这个舍利佛呢看了呢，心生非常的悸动就是非常的激励这个舍利佛呢亲近他。所以呢，那就问这个马胜比丘，那马胜比丘呢也很谦虚的告诉他说，我还是一位新学的比丘，那我只能就教你们那么一丁点那么这一丁点呢，就是这个巴利我们看到的，就是诸法因缘生，如来作其因，诸法灭欲然，最大沙门说这个是非常非常简短。那这个舍利佛呢，一听到这一句话，哇，即刻证悟了所以呢，这个舍利佛呢，后来也告诉了这目犍连，那目犍连听了之后呢，也证得了这个出果了我们可以说，这个舍利佛目犍连呢，也跟随，就是跟他以前早期老师的500位弟子，就是共同在佛陀的座下出家修行据说他的这个以前的老师也因此呢自杀身亡 Okay, so now this is the last one. So after knowing all these things, I think it is quite clear, right? The association with the wise becomes so important, to our spiritual development. And this is very necessary in the early stage of our spiritual development, when our virtuous aspirations are still very fresh and tender in the early stage of mind. Then, this early phase of mind is resembled to a chamelon, okay? 变色龙哈, which alter its colors according to its background. So just as, the lizard, this lizard, turn green when in the grass and brown when on the ground. So we become fool when we associate with fool, and wise when we associate with wise. 那么在刚才我们谈论了很多之后呢，这些经典啊，那么我们可以看得出来，就是以智慧的人相处呢，对我们整个精神的发展呢是非常非常的重要。尤其是在我们早期学佛的阶段呢，当我们内心还是非常单纯的时候呢，这有为特别的重要啊。比如说这个变色龙啊，当这个变色龙呢，它会依据它的这个什么环境背景而改变它的颜色。比如说蜥蜴呢，从草丛里面在草丛里面它会变成绿色，那么在地上它会变成棕色一样。所以呢，当我们与愚痴人的在一起的时候呢，我们就会变成愚痴了那么不要逞强那么与智慧的人交往呢，我们就变得有智慧的人了萨土萨土萨土。好 ，So Brother Chim.
Yeah, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bante, for the very interesting and very inspiring Dhamma talk this morning. They give us a lot of good advice on how to progress spiritually by having more good friends, more good companions, and good comrades in the Dhamma. Thank you, Bante. And now it is a Q&A session. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, do you have any questions for Venerable Dr. Dhammapala?
I think a lot here.
Yeah, first question from Brahma Vihara Monastery, Sister Hong Ling. Venerable, if we have friends who are surrounded by bad companions, what can we do to help them?
I think I have said already. I think what we can do is very limited, so we can just advise them, so to better stay away from them. Yeah.
Well said. Short and sweet. Good answer. We go for next question.
I can't help also. It's better stay away from them. And of course, you see, I think that is the best answer.
Yeah.
How can parents share their experience and opinions with the parents who feel parents are out of depth? Perhaps they feel that they are more internet savvy and they don't need their advice anymore. Please advise. I think these problems, of course, it's not easy to deal with, especially, you see, I think the parents have to show an example, lower down their ego, try to be, good friend with their own children. I think once the parents, lower down their ego, then I think their children, will communicate with them, will talk to them nicely. If not, you always think that, you have to listen to me, you see. You have that kind of attitudes, I don't think your children will listen to you. So please lower down your ego, lower down your status, make your children as your good friend. And I have seen a lot of success stories about, the parents and children, but because they look at each other as a good friend, and they have less conflict, less problems in family life.
Yeah, thank you, Bante. I think times has changed so much, Bante.
As
parents, we have to actually think about yeah, we have to keep up with the latest development so that we can speak in terms of the children's interests, so that we can speak the same frequency.
Yeah, very right. Very right.
I think if we go for the third question, Bante, from KCBA WH Chan, today we have listened to an Arahant. Does it likely we can attain Sotapatti like what? Or like when Venerable Arahant Asaje taught ascetic Sariputta?
Do you think you can? Even during the Buddha's time also, a lot of people just pass by the Buddha that they have no condition, they have no yin, to understand the Buddhas, they just left So when we say, when we listen to someone or we associate with someone, we talk about the yin, we talk about the condition, we talk about the affinity. If you have no affinity with them, though he is an arahat, just in front of you, you learn nothing from him. Not to say the attainment of Sotapanti. See, so we need that yin.
There's one comment from David.
Comment. I think you read that.
Maybe we can share. This is a comment from David.
Okay, you read.
He say, I think this one is in reply to Brother Tan's question. He said, Brother Tan, today's kids are much different from our time, say 50 years ago, where people are very much influenced by the internet. But one thing does not change, the truth and our conscience. In order to talk and show our kids the right and noble way in life, first we must study, know and practice the Buddha Dhamma. Second, we must lead by right example. And finally, our kids need to learn and grow to know what is the real value in life. Hope my humble opinion would be helpful.
Sadhu. Okay, very good.
I think due to time constraint, Pandey, we have to stop here. Once again, thank you so much, Pandey, for the very good enlightening talk this morning. Thank you so much on behalf of our members and devotees. We express our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Pandey. Kan se Pandey, kan en. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Again, thank you very much, Venerable Dr. Dhammapala. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, this morning we have participated in the Sunday Buddha Puja, listening to Venerable's Dhamma talk. With the merits accrued, we will be inviting Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to lead us in the dedication of merits to all sentient beings, families, relatives, friends, and the departed ones. We would also like to dedicate merits to our online team member, Alfred's sister, Chen Hui Hui, who had just been admitted to hospital this morning, and to Sister Anne, who will be seeking medical treatment. May they have a safe and speedy recovery. Venerable, over to you.
Patidana, transference of merits. Akasata chabomata devanaga mahedika punyang tang anumoditwa chirang rakantu loka sasanang chirang rakantu desanang chirang rakantu mang parang Etavata cha amhehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe deva sabe sata sabe buddha anumodantu sapasang patisidiya idang me nyatinang Hotu sukita hontu nyatayon idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayon idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayon imina punya kamena Mame bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu Yavani banapatiya Idang me punyang Asava kaya wahang hotu Idang me punyang Nibbana sepat Sayotu Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, please continue to thank Venerable Dr. Dhammapala. And brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, so before we end, let us pay homage to the triple gem. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. To my Dhamma friends from the various locations in the country and also outside the country, thank you very much for participating. To those who have stayed until to this dedication of marriage, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you to those who have participated in the comments box. Especially those who join us early in the morning and continue until to the dedication of marriage. Well done to all of you. We have come to the end of this 81st online Sundays Buddha Puja service. For the next Puja service will be on the next Sunday, on the 6th of March. You may refer to the Society's Facebook for the poster for the information. Thank you for sharing the poster with your family members and friends. Just remember to follow the SOP, stay safe and stay cautious. May you and family be safe, well, happy and peaceful always. Thank you to all of you for participating and again. Sukhi hontu, sabbe sattha sukita hontu.
Bahung sahan semabhinim mitesayudantang ngirimi kelang uditego Sasene marang Dana di Dhamma vidina Jitwa munindo Tang tejasa Jaya